Oliver is our youngest son. We were trying to come up with a name for if we had a boy, what his name would be. Mary floated Oliver past me, and I was like, I don't know, that sounds like a musical.
He didn't want the name Oliver, I did. And he was like, looked it up to see what it meant, and it was like the leader of the elf army or something, and he just loved that.
Apparently it means elf army in Old Norse, and so I was like, that's awesome, I'm in. Oliver it is.
And he had said, if we ever have a band, we're going to call it Oliver Elf Army. And so that's how it got its name, but he has no interest in our band at all. He's kind of embarrassed, actually. He would like us to play rap music, and that's probably not going to be happening anytime soon.
Hi, we're Oliver Elf Army, and you're watching Band in Seattle.
Woohoo! What started out as a fun family band hobby, Oliver Elf Army turned into one of Everett's favorite sinister pop bands. Welcome to Band in Seattle.
If you stick your tongue out at me again, I swear to God I will cut it off and put it in a box to shrivel underneath my bed. Your rescues and ways will backfire one day, and I just hope I'm there to see the bottom drop out of your sneaky, sneaky schemes.
Judy, Do You Ever Miss Hell was about Beaver Cleaver's nemesis from the TV show Leave It to Beaver. Judy Hensler was in his class and was just, you know, she had those ruler cut bangs and the glare and just, whatever, Beaver. Yeah, horrible, horrible girl. I'm sure she turned out to be a lovely woman.
It's a funny story. I mean, if you didn't watch Leave It to Beaver, then you may not understand it. But yeah, we both watched it a lot, and Judy was always our favorite, even though she was not very nice.
Pointing fingers and naming names. Demonic, informer, informer.
Probably about 24 or 5 years ago. I worked at a record label and record store, and Martin was a musician. So we went and saw his show, his old band, and I just hit it off with him. He was just a really, I got his influences, I understood his band, I thought they were great, and we just became really good friends. We started going to shows together a lot.
She's the one that's always kind of encouraged me to keep going, because we got together over a love of music. She worked for record stores and labels, so she would always have tickets to every show, and I love going to shows. What's better than that? Free shows. So I would just go with her.
She's my best friend, and I mean, I'm lucky enough that we can live together and we can play together, and we don't really get sick of each other, so yeah.
Distant future, I'll see you in a golden corral, and I'll knock a baked potato right off your tray. You'll stare at me in some surprise and recoil when you see the fire in my eyes, and revenge will be mine.
Mary and Martin are just the nicest people in the world, and I love them very much, and they've done a lot for not only me, but for Everett and a lot of the other musicians in the scene. And, they're kind of like our band mom and dad. And, they've let me stay at their house. They've let me raid their fridge. They're just the nicest people in the world, not only to me, but to everybody.
Another
Infinity is Okay is a love song that I wrote for Mary. I don't usually wear my heart on my sleeve like that, but she deserves it.
Infinity is okay with you.
After our youngest son was born, and there was this thing online called the RPM Challenge, and it was to write and record an album in the month of February. And you know, when you've got a toddler around, you've got tons of free time, so it seemed like a really great idea. When she had free time, she would write some songs. When I had free time, I would write some songs. And we recorded them together, and that is sort of where Oliver Elf Army started. For her 40th birthday, we played it. We rented out the Rendezvous, the Jewel Box Theater downstairs, and put on a show for all our friends.
After we played that show, we started to get like a few people that were like, oh, would you like to come and play our barbecue? Or would you like to come and play this little small event? So we would do like maybe 1 or 2 shows a year, not really focusing or thinking that it would be anything more than that, you know. And then we started writing, and then we started recording, and then we started playing, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I never expected it to be anything more than maybe playing in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed at what we've gotten away with, or what we've been allowed to do, you know. It almost seems like if you're not trying to make it, all these opportunities present themselves. He just loves music, and turns out he was a pretty good bass player. And you know, we love him. I mean, he's like our kid at this point, you know, our big, scary-haired kid.
After the break, you'll find out a whole lot more about Oliver Elf Army.
From morning to night, 20 gold chains reflecting the light, double the bandanas, man, it is just bananas, and
Booty Warrior is probably the most popular of all our songs.
The Booty Warrior is this legend of a person that lives in the neighborhood that we used to live in. He would just wear these chains and this bandana and these big earphones, and all he does was walk and walk and walk. You're going, where's he going?
Grass is so black, is he looking at me? Got so much gold like a white misty tea.
And then there was this piece of graffiti one day that just magically showed up in Everett in our neighborhood, and it just said Booty Warrior, and I thought it was hilarious, and I said, Martin, did you see that? And he's like, you know, I bet it's that guy that walks around our neighborhood. And then it just kind of clicked. And so he decided to write like kind of like a love song to him. And then when Henry came on and started playing bass on that song, it's just booming now. So it's a legit like butt shaker. Henry's come into our lives. He started playing bass with us, I think it's been about a year and a half now. Changed the dynamic of the band. He's kind of like a really excitable kitten that jumps up and down, and then you've got the two old cats. We stay in place, we don't move.
I think it was the opportunity to do it. Sounded really fun because there was no bass lines, so I get to kind of be creative, you know, and like I was in Everett at that time. People knew me as a radio DJ. They didn't think that I actually played music. So it was kind of a cool chance to kind of come out of retirement, because I really wasn't playing music all that often. Thought like, yeah, cool, I'll just play this one show with them and like figure out some bass lines, and like that would be it. And then they kept calling me back and calling me back.
You know, and we love him. I mean, he's like our kid at this point. You know, our big, scary-haired kid.
Henry is our other child, yes, and most of the Everett music scene are our other like children that we foster as well.
Black Nikes is about the Heaven's Gate cult. It's a love song, so it's about a couple that got caught up in this Heaven's Gate mass suicide, and you follow someone to the end sometimes, even if it's not the right end.
C/1995501.
Yeah, we have a cool little community up in Everett for sure.
A lot of them are a lot younger than us, so we tend to be like mom and dad, and we feel really, really grateful when they come to us and ask, hey, do you want to hear my new song? I haven't put it out yet. We want you to hear it first and tell me what you think. And then we also have people like Ryan Crowther that's doing the Fisherman's Festival, you know, and he does the Everett Music Initiative and brings all of these other bands to town as well.
We do have a really good music scene, and we do have talented musicians, and it is hard to break into Seattle or have people care about you and what you do because you're not from here. And yeah, I just think it's awesome that band in Seattle is like, yeah, who cares like where you're from as long as you're good.
So yeah, it's great scene in Everett, and we're the proud punk parents of Everett. Maybe grandparents, I don't know.
38 bodies decomposing in the California spring. 38 ancient astronauts explore space with you for better things. 38 bodies decomposing explore space with California spring. 38 ancient astronauts.
That song, Blotted, oh boy. That song's about me when I fell out of a tree.
After the break, you'll find out a whole lot more about Oliver Elf Army.
song, Blotted, oh boy. That song's about me when I fell out of a tree.
So Mary wrote that one. It is about her falling from a tree and breaking her wrist.
So I had to go to the hospital, and they gave me Blotted. And I don't do well with opiates, and it was awful, and it was this weird, crazy experience. So I won't be climbing any more trees anytime soon.
I will tell you right now that Mary is one of the best drummers I've ever played with. We hold it down, Mary and I. Martin's off doing whatever Martin does, but you know, Mary and I have to keep it together and keep it locked.
She is a metronome, you know. She's not fancy, and I'm glad. Like when I hear a crash cymbal now, I'm just like, why? Why do that? That's like for parades and circuses and things. So no fancy stuff. She serves the song.
I started playing music when I was 38. It started with me going to Ladies Rock Camp in Portland, Oregon, and it changed my life completely. So I played the guitar, and then I went for like 7 years straight. Every year I would play a different instrument, and drums just kind of was the thing that I really enjoyed. And I kind of started playing that when I was 40. So I just would slowly add a different piece every year. Once I felt comfortable playing the snare drum, I added a kick drum, and then once that, it just kind of went on. So I'm still learning how to play, but I like the drums a lot.
So Nocthexan means night witches. Mary and I took Oliver up to the Flying Heritage Museum in Everett, and one of the exhibits they had was like a biplane, and these biplanes were flown by Russian women, and they would just turn off the engines and float over the Germans and drop their bombs. And so the Germans just, they came out of nowhere and dropped fire on them, so they called them night witches. We changed the chorus, which comes from the Dead Kennedys song, but we changed it for television. Safety first. Honestly, I cannot conceive of a life without music. I mean, and this is not Beethoven or Strauss or anything, right? This is just kind of dumb rock and roll with semi-smart lyrics. I don't know how best to describe it, but it's the music. I make the music that I want to hear because it's missing, right? I can't hear it. I can hear pieces of all these things in other bands, but this is what I want to hear, and so that's why. It's great for Mary and I to do something that's just ours, well, and Henry's.
To uncover more of the music that moved you tonight, go to bandinseattle.com where you can find out more about Oliver Elf Army and watch their full concert.